Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I'm Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun, and this is our trailer reaction and breakdown for The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2, September 29th.
Yep.
It is coming to AMC. I know it has been a very long wait, especially given that this season has been done filming for a while now, but the Book of Carol is finally about to be opened.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, it's going to be coming up soon. Carol's going to be on it. I mean, we already knew that from the end of season one, but it's been very cool seeing them on their press tour and talking about the show and what's going to be coming up. Season three has already been confirmed,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. And in an interview with Variety, David Zabel, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name, I
Mm-hmm.
apologize, has said a little bit about what season three is even going to be about already. And this is what he said. He said, it's a part of the progression of Daryl and Carol trying to get home. They find their way through a bunch of surprising and cool situations. But Spain is right across the border from France. So it looks like in season three, we're still going to be out there. We're still going to be moving into new, different parts.
It's exciting. I'm really
It's
curious.
really exciting.
Yeah, I love geography. I'm a big geography nerd. You give me a show set in another country, a place that I don't often see, I am always going to be really gung ho about it. It's why I like the White Lotus, even though a lot of the international locations there are just like filthy rich people who are just complaining about this perfect environment. This is not a perfect environment, but there's a lot of theory stuff we're going to get into based on the trailer. I have some big questions I'm sort of wondering about as to what the final end game is of this show. But
Mhm.
before we get too far into any particular part of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we will be here throughout all of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 2 with breakdowns, theories, reactions, all sorts of good stuff we don't want you to miss.
You can also follow us over on our Patreon. We'll have a link for you below. For just $5 a month, you can help support Matt and I here at the channel to continue to bring you videos and do what we're doing
Yeah.
here and talking about shows. And I'll have access to polls over there that will help determine what we cover here at the channel, as well as what we cover over on our Patreon, because we do cover shows at our Patreon that
Yeah.
we do not cover here. And thank you so much to everyone who has.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, I'll just start with this because this is a question that's been sort of bugging me ever since I saw the trailer and we heard
Mhm.
some of this more additional news from David about kind of what the long-term end game here is, which is Daryl and Carol are going to be working to make their way back home.
Mhm.
Do we need them to make their way back home? Like this to me was a question I got a lot out of the season 1 finale where Daryl is really struggling with, do I need to go back to America? I've got this opportunity, but he decides to stay in France with Isabel and Laurent, and he continues in the trailer to still kind of be wrestling with this idea of, did I make the right decision? And I'm just sort of sitting here and being like, it's okay to move on sometimes. You don't necessarily have to return home. And yeah, I know you're probably worried about Carol, but Carol's gonna be there now. You're gonna have Carol. Carol, one of your best friends. You're gonna be out there with one of your best friends. You've got this newfound sort of family unit that's going on. I don't necessarily need to see Daryl go back home.
I don't need to see Daryl go back home.
Okay,
Like
not a lot.
at the end of season one, I understand his want to get back to Carol who's family
Mm-hmm.
and that want. But at the same time, I mean, she had been moving on to some other things. Obviously, she's looking for him now,
Yeah.
but he has also been moving on to some other things. And it is okay to move on and do other things and sort of leave the nest of your family and move into other families. That's part of life, right? And moving around, also part of life, discovering new things, finding that you're needed somewhere else as well. And what's going on over there with Laurent is something for him to stay for. This is a young boy who really needs Daryl, really looks up to Daryl, who's apparently very special. There's something special about him.
Yeah.
And Daryl is a protector, and he is someone who can teach Laurent a lot of things, like how to be more self sufficient and protect himself.
Mm-hmm.
And Laurent has been teaching him as well more about family, which is something that Daryl has with Carol, but he's lost a lot in his life. And this unit in France is really brought him together in that unit. So watching the trailer where he's like, "Oh yeah, the three of us, we're gonna go back to America." At first, I was kind of like, well, "Why?" But then the
Yeah.
more I sort of thought about it, I was like, "Well, Jeanette's out there looking for Laurent. If you bring him over to America, is she ever really gonna find him? Probably not."
It's a situation where I would understand if they all go back to America together. Like I'm fine with that. I don't want to see Daryl and Laurent and Isabel end up being split apart in some shape or form, because this is sort of the show now, and Carol is joining it, and I love Carol and I'm excited for her to join it. But one of my actual biggest takeaways from this trailer, and I'll put a very sad tinfoil hat on.
Oh,
I'm really
I'm
worried.
not doing that.
I'm really worried Isabel's gonna die.
Yo, why you gotta say
I
this?
don't-
We haven't even started the season yet.
I know, but I'm just sort of like, maybe I'm thinking too much into it. It's just like she wasn't in the trailer all that much. I haven't seen her do that much press for season 2 yet. It's just there's just a lot of little tea leaves that make me worried.
I think she probably hasn't done as much press because Carol's here. And I mean, she's such a huge icon in The Walking Dead. And, it's always been Daryl and Carol, them
Yeah.
together, and, them as family and them as friends and them as everything, right? So this season feels like it's even more about Carol than it really is about Daryl and what's going on with Jeanette and what's going on with Lauren and Isabel and all that it's really Carol's story of her journey to get over there. We even see her like in a plane. I mean, it's so crazy. And I think that's probably why that they're like, okay, we have Carol, who's one of the biggest stars of this franchise ever. Is anyone gonna want to talk to anybody else at this point? It's such a huge deal.
I still want to talk to Isabel.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't think Isabel's gonna die. I think it's been, for me anyways, years since they've brought on a character that hasn't just died right away or has been in 30 episodes and I'm like, I still don't know who you are. Like she is such an iconic character. I'm so invested in her.
I just really hope that they kind of find a way to balance all these different elements out, because I'm really excited about Carol, and I'm definitely not a Carol hater here. I think her reunion with Daryl, it seems like it's going to happen. They've teased it at the end of the trailer. I don't think anybody is shocked by this.
No, and I'm so glad that they did. I mean, I think we all know that they're going to reunite. Like, why are you going to have a whole season called The Book of Carol and like she's not going to reunite? Of course she's going to reunite. And I'm, they blurred her out a little bit, but it's obviously her. And it's so nice to see that because we're all going into it thinking that they're going to reunite. It's more of like, what's that moment going to be when he turns around and sees her?
They need to just have a big old hug. They need to just have a smile.
Anticipation.
They can tell the stories. Okay, I will also say that I'm just wanting to fight with people in the comments all day. I feel like, because I love Daryl and Carol. Yeah, I ship Daryl and Isabel. I'm not a Daryl Carol shipper anymore. I used to be. The show has changed me on this, and all the hashtag Carol CARYL people are about to just like go full Negan on me. I'm sorry.
Listen, I ship them both. I feel like I will be okay if he ends up with Isabel. I really like that character, and I think they have a really nice chemistry, but I've always liked him with Carol. And I know that there's people out there that are like, she's too old for him. They are 3 years apart.
I know.
3 years apart. They are nothing as far as like age difference.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be because, Carol, the actress, Melissa's got gray hair, but it doesn't mean anything. So does Norman. They are 3 years apart. So stop it. I just really like them together because they do have a family bond, a friendship bond that if they get together, I'm definitely not going to be mad about that. I really like them together as everything. But Isabel has come in and made it complicated because I also really like her as well.
I think ultimately there's a way for everyone to be happy, and I'm sure that probably will not happen. But
I think for me, I'm at the point now that I'd like to see Daryl have some kind of relationship. I know that the franchise is extremely protective over the Daryl character, that they don't want to like put him in some sort of romantic situationship and then everybody gets really mad about it or whatever. Everybody has their feelings about it. He is a grown man.
Yeah.
And at this point, I feel like it's okay to let him have some kind of intimacy and love. It's okay. We're all adults watching the show. Not everyone will like it, but we'll all get through it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I also just feel like they've already done a good job of showing other forms of intimacy. Like, you know, you can have a lot of different love exist in different forms. And they've shown that a lot of that can be an emotional connection, a bond, something that Daryl didn't necessarily have growing up. So I think it's okay to evolve to that next stage. And as long as they handle it maturely and they kind of justify all the characters' actions, like I'm not one of these people who's just going to be up in arms if Daryl and Isabel don't end up together. I'm just going to be like, okay, fine. You guys did this with the story. I believed in it. I'm not going to, you know, go on random websites and complain. It's just, I need you guys to just really sell the emotional stakes of everything for Daryl in this season, because yeah, I think Carol coming back is going to be important, but she's also, there's a reason why all this is happening. Like, there's something she needs to tell Daryl that's been clear for a while, and maybe it's something that actually does make him realize I need to go back. Like, maybe it's something that only he can fix. It's kind of hard, though, to fathom exactly what that could be, because there's plenty of other people in this world.
Maybe she's going to be like, I love you. Fix my heart.
If she says, fix my heart, I don't know what we're going to do. I think I will just be in hysterics, and you will be over there waving a sign.
That's right. I'll be over the moon.
You'll just be like, I was right, and you can just say that
right.
200 times. No, I really am curious, though, what exactly she needs to tell him.
Okay, Cadron, let's talk about him.
Do we need to?
Absolutely, because at the end of the season 1 finale, I mean, he's somewhat helped Daryl out. Now, does that mean that they're besties now? No, there's no love lost between them. I mean, he blames Daryl for the loss of his brother. So they're never going to be necessarily like the best of friends or like we're working together. But he kind of went against Jeanette to help Daryl. So is it now like, where does he land in this? He was in the trailer quite a bit. Is he going to be able to work with Jeanette? Is Jeanette going to work with him anymore? Is it the enemy is my friend? Like, is he going to start working with Daryl? Like, where does he land in this? I wasn't that interested in him in season 1, but after watching the trailer and where he ended, now I'm kind of like, where does this guy land?
I think you're more optimistic about this than I am. I still am not invested in Cadron at all. I'm fine if you just take him out of the equation in the premiere. It just, to me, yeah, if you can add more depth to this character and kind of establish there's different layers of big bads and all of that, maybe I can get on board with it. I think it's just like from his look to his attitude, he just looks too much out of a stereotypical villain magazine that Daryl picked up and was like, I want to fight this guy over the course of the season. The villains on this show need more to me, whether it is Cadron, whether it is Jeanette. Like, there's not
I love Jeanette.
Okay, see, I'm not fully there with her either.
Yeah,
I need more.
She's pretty bad.
I need more from the villains on this show because I'm so invested in the other characters.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've spent more time with them. Not everything can be the season 1 of Criminal Minds Evolution, where we get to spend a whole season with the bad guy and really get to know them.
I think another problem with Daryl Dixon in general is just that the seasons have been so short. You're not really getting a lot of time. I mean, even with Criminal Minds Evolution, like you mentioned, we had 10 episodes in that first season. Season 1 of Daryl Dixon, just 6. That's not a lot of time to get to spend with these people, but make the episodes really long. I don't know, do something to thaw me out a little bit in terms of my icy relationship to these characters, that I actually care about sort of the battle of good versus evil.
Okay, some other little takeaways. We saw glowing walkers like they're in Fallout, which was so cool.
I was all in on that.
And then we saw the Louvre, which was like in shambles. Seeing that pyramid in the front, all like moss grown over it, windows broken. I was like, they do such a good job with this show, with the scenery. This show is gorgeous.
there's two things I always want from an edition of the Walking Dead franchise. Number one, new walkers. Congratulations. You guys have done that. Number two, iconic places being tailor-made for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
You have done that with the Louvre. I'm sure you're going to find a way to do this with Spain and some other sort of exciting ways like that. I want to envision that the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is just going to be the amazing race of the zombie apocalypse, where every couple of seasons they just go to a new country and mess it up.
Yeah, I love it.
Can we go to the UK and I don't know, season 4, season 5? What are we going to do then? No, I'm very excited for this season to sort of see how they're able to sort of shape everything, build up a long-term arc, but also have some fun along the way, because the entire show can't just be about, oh, is Daryl going to get back to America? Because then the rest of it's just going to feel like they're spinning its wheels.
Yeah, and once Carol's there, why does he need to go back to America? Everything that he cares about is in France, so it doesn't really matter anymore. There has to be a real threat that's getting them to leave at that point. It's not just, I want to go back to America, because why would Laurent and Isabel want to go? Why do they care? Like, they don't. So it needs to be more of like, we have to get out of here because something's coming after us, Jeanette. But we're going to be here covering this show when it's back every week with reviews. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Also, do support us more. Join our Patreon. We have a link in the description below. For $5 a month, you guys can help us to make these videos that we love to do so much. We'll see you guys here next time.